What can I say about all the minutes of those days, the miles of those journeys, the states of mind, and the games of solitaire? Fast abandoning tabs on the lost and the retrieved as time thunders, laughing across the thresholds of the years. I had tumbled back into some new gape of the ancient dream, deceived in believing I was deceived, desiring for the prison of want, searching for some gender between the oppressed and the oppressor, and then streamed with a great perk of bile from the labyrinth that was never there. You have come close to truth, and only this stands between you and the bridge that leads you to it. I opened my eyes, my rib was returned. Hope is a hard love to part for the hopeful. Then met with the vision of this precipitous beginning. A child in my arms, tame and wild cats all around me. Now, said the voice, step out lightly. But I could not see the crossing. Vision can deceive, and so I learned to listen, basking as I am in the light of the invisible sun. Good evening, and welcome to a special edition of Planet Waves FM. My name is Eric Francis Coppolino, your host for the next hour or so. Tonight's edition is for Friday, the 8th of March, 2024. Welcome to our program, wherever you may be in the world, in the future, or in your state of mind. It is good to be here with you. Tonight's is a special edition on the occasion of my 60th birthday, which is on Saturday, the day of the Pisces new moon. And this edition will be all poetry and original music. The music, I'm accompanied by Daniel Grimsland and Daniel Sternstein. Music all produced by Grimsland, and all poems by me, except for a couple, including the very next one, and two a little bit later on by Allen Ginsberg. This is Poem in October by Dylan Thomas. It was my 30th year to heaven, woke to my hearing from harbor and neighbor wood, and the mussel pooled and the heron priested shore. The morning beckon, with water praying and call of seagull and rock, and the knock of sailing boats on the net-webbed wall. Myself to set foot that second in the still sleeping town and set forth. My birthday began with water, birds, and the birds of the winged trees flying my name above the farms and the white houses and the white horses, and I rose in rainy autumn and walked abroad in a shower of all of my days. High tide, and the heron dived when I took the road over the border, and the gates of the town were closed as the town awoke. A springful of larks in a rolling cloud, and the roadside bushes brimming with whistling blackbirds, and the sun of October summery on the hill's shoulder. Here were fond climates and sweet singers suddenly come in the morning, where I wandered and listened to the rain ringing. wind blow cold, in the wood far away under me. Pale rain over the dwindling harbor, and over the sea, wet church the size of a snail, with its horns through the mist, and the castle brown as owls. All but the gardens of spring and summer were blooming in the tall tales beyond the border, under lark full cloud. There I could marvel my birthday away, but the weather turned around. It turned away from the blithe country, and down the other air, and the blue-altered sky streamed again with a wonder of summer, with apples, pears, and red currants. And I saw the turning so clearly, with a child's forgotten mornings, when he walked with his mother through the parables of sunlight and the legends of green chapels, and the twice-told fields of infancy, that his tears burned my cheeks, and his heart moved in mine. These were the woods, the river, and sea, where a boy, in the listening summertime of the dead, whispered truth of his joy to the trees and stones of the fish and the tide, and the mystery sang alive, still in the water and singing birds. And there I could marvel my birthday away, but the weather turned around, and the true joy of the long-dead child sang, burning in the sun. It was my 30th year to heaven stood there, and then in the summer noon, though the town below lay leaved with October blood, oh, may my heart's truth still be sung on this high hill in a year's turning. At this point, 5 p.m. and the autumn day revealing signs of brightly waning. Earth is wrapped in ancient stillness. Curtains, trees, and telephone lines pulsate where the shore was once 1,000 miles west of here. At this point, abstraction gently shows itself as one. In the news of the world, the terror did its thing, leaving 13 dead as hundreds flee the dark airliner. The sun is blocked by low, wet clouds. I stay close to the buildings and tuck into the Jamaican grocery where my friend says he's had better days. The store is a cozy little cave, and outside the sky hangs close and loving. At this point, one might recognize it's just us and Source, and the thunder speaks in recognition. At this point, we call it by the time and date. It stays this time forever. You might quip, that's the universal theme, and I observe the converging lines in the finely ebbing summer cold. One moment hence I stood on a buffalo street, beneath one sky close and loving. For one more glimmer I am real, and lightning flashes knowing. I see you now, I know you, and these thoughts grow dim, these faded words yield to one awareness. My fear is somewhere lurking low, on alert of its certain death. And so I chose this time, this place, this self, these distant sounds and silent visions. There was a time I could bear this isolation so gracefully, but now it has grown larger than me. And if you knew the change I have to undertake, you'd wish me well. Now, winter settles in, dead leaves are carried off between the river's shores in a silent procession as I prepare for the long sleep and the long dream and your arrival in this place and time. You call me from another life. I cannot reply, though you receive the colors I perceive with no deliberation, no anticipation, only silent thought. And it is of one question this entire dream is wrought. Time has shown we transcend time. Love has beckoned us above every silly game of love. I hold the impossible in my hand, walk your crashing midnight shore, the border of the borderland. You call me from I know not where, I know not how, I will be there. As sure as passion's fire does burn, my footsteps will to you to turn. The moment between the look and recognition, within that time we seek salvation. Between the sealed pack and the first drag, finger sniff a fresh $20 bill, come up to speed on the New Jersey Turnpike, go inside, ask yourself, we seek communion here. But what vows have we taken? To whom are we wed? The ring, it is invisible. It is not there. In just one moment we'll be aware. Faith is so small. But this I must confess to you. I spoke these words before I knew. I stood before a winter tree, beyond a winter sky, stone still in my path, jaw a little limp, at the singular pattern of this winter tree, gazing on from outside of time, and paused in the steady calm beneath the changing seal, lit gold through teal, and marked the moment 1 mile from home, more familiar than I've ever known. I remember where I am, yet still 1 mile beyond my home. Traffic seemed to gently drift a jogger past me on the left. There are many who walk my path, many more in fear of death. Asked to wait here for a time to guide my loved ones closer on, I need not take the final step, for in truth I am and have never gone. I resolved to release that insane summer one fateful afternoon in December. Spared the temptation to travel in time, spared the belief I do not understand. Release me tonight, and I will take your hand. Now, as I open, I let you go. So much that I've learned, I need never know. While a pressure just builds that time never relieves, and the world remembers, or so it believes. Speaking of true love, I remember what you said. I found it at the bottom of a pile of papers that could swamp the sea of tranquility. Waxing, papers and dust and paper clips, envelopes, newspapers, magazines, misplaced ideas, misplaced people, waning. Yes, it took weeks to clear away all that debris, and at the bottom, I found this note that I did not dare but lose, and it said that you do not dare linger here for fear of being swallowed by genius and plundering. A dark abyss. Abyss, yes, but I would only embrace you. What can I say about all the minutes of those days, the miles of those journeys, the states of mind and the games of solitaire? Fast abandoning tabs on the lost and the retrieved as time thunders, laughing across the thresholds of the years. I had tumbled back into some new gape of the ancient dream, deceived in believing I was deceived, desiring for the prison of want, searching for some gender between the oppressed and the oppressor, and then streamed with a great perk of bile from the labyrinth that was never there. You have come close to truth, and only this stands between you and the bridge that leads you to it. I opened my eyes, my rib was returned. Hope is a hard love to part for the hopeful. Met with the vision of this precipitous beginning, a child in my arms, tame and wild cats all around me. Now, said the voice, step out lightly. But I could not see the crossing. Vision can deceive, and so I learned to listen, basking as I am in the light of the invisible sun. Storm clouds gather while I muse over the weather and miss the message while I read between the lies. Like thunder calling the forces of friendship together, on the dark side of the dream, I dreamed I was alive. These hills seem to swirl beneath the cloudbursts and the satiny drapes. My mind tips against the world of wishes, sounds, and sights. It turns from the power of the hearth that churns white-hot faith. The night deepens. I fly into the fear and know I will escape. Dear Urbana, though I cannot see, your faces flash in lights across my fields of vision. The music of your voices dances through my heart's cradles, out in circles from a single splash. Hour by hour, we draw cards in the swell of evening, trace the moments of a dark street with our fingers interlaced. There was never one sorrow that did not leave me believing, never a dream that was ever replaced. Hell is this room. It is not the Bronx-bound D 3:30 a.m., nor the tormented, sagging bellow of a laboring freight. It is not the circles inside the circles, inside some fabled Hades, nor dripping, ticking insects, stubble, hayfield, vomiting to the road beside creeping acid dawn. It is not all America online at one supermarket buying rubber chickens in a feverish dream. It is almost another reeling spring. I walk alone on a carpet of pink petals, lolling with drear. Will I live to see next year? It is almost my buxom auntie in her Lauderdale fortress, buttering her butter and saying, "Suffer." It is this very room, this instant. It is this cruddy floor, this gurgling radiator, this sweat-cold floodlight glare, these boxes of writer rubbish. It is this watercolor painting of purple vagina creeping across fat cock tip, beneath lacy purple clitoris, about to be fucked by a peacock blue lily. Slow down, Lizzie. These eyes on your honey frame, dripping slow, so. Your slow moon, rising, falling, rising, slow. These hands on velvet purse, slipping slow, so. And it sounds so open, open, open. Open me, sigh me, throb me, tingle, twitch me, sweet me, feed me. Find I am staring at honey, sweet and dripping, slow, so. A glimpse from the ridge. That morning, I remember how we walked the 10 minutes up to the limestone ridge through a twirling forest of overgrown decimation, brown earth and white snow, and barely an echo remaining of the dynamite and rock thunder 1 century ago. You went a little reluctantly because you were in a hurry. You said, just an hour, but you were nice about it, and I was proud of myself for asking. If we could taste the earth, then I would feel complete. At the top, I could barely breathe, though I was no less in shock at the sudden, vast release of time across the land, blue and barren, mountains like mountains, overlook Ohio, Mohonk, nameless Catskills, so strange they might as well have been the Himalayas. I showed you the edge, 80 feet down, into a vertical mine, a mile wide, but invisible from the trail. A mistake or an unsteady step could mean death, sure as wind, but nonetheless, we went out to the rim and looked down and then outward again. Neither of us dared the folly of overstatement. I could feel your astonishment. That was enough. Tonight, I went back to see the horizon eclipse the gleaming Pisces sun, to fill my eyes with bottom-lit clouds and spill out my imagination over the silent range of stone, remembering where I am, knowing that I cannot explain it to you. From this rock, for Paul Verdolino. Even the moon knows we're blind to attempt vision in her reflected light, straining a smile, that to look for ourselves in near darkness is to look to darkness for ourselves. And now she is gone. My pen, my diary, my book of prayers are back in the car, and bundled as I am, thick in flannel and down, I feel so naked with empty hands. Defenseless, the invasion is unwelcome, for where the night so gently framed the glowing light that wafted and danced and then disappeared, imperfection has grown the final proof of the dawn. As the fields and trains and factories, the tracks and diamonds scattered across any towns, steam to vision amid the remaining trees, recalling some second-grade reader and God bless America, I shiver. Once orphaned sounds resume their names in the catalog of crime. The once countryside grows louder, begging catharsis beneath droning factories. From this rock, stanchioned high above her poisoned aquifers, earth and houses and schools I can see, draped in black wire, her subjects trapped and loyal. While I stand free on this rock, the fresh water of grace rains and tumbles away from the high places to the low. I fight the venom, turning to the monument. And despite my refusal, still breathe it and see it and drink it and know it and reflect its reflection from this high mountain and say the same words 10,000 have spoken. And I have laid this sentence so long unbroken, stone by stone, in my own heart and with my own hands. With my ears I have painted the dull music of man on the distant horizon that swirls from this rock. I have signed my name to all creation, unaware, and as the light falls, it is only I, my denial and my disbelief, wishing for my pen, my book of prayers, and my blank pages, sole witness to destruction, My decision remains open. From this rock, General George Washington watched the movement of the British troops during the anxious months of May and June 1777. Erected by the Continental Chapter of the Daughters of the American Revolution and the people of Plainfield and North Plainfield, lest we forget, 1912. Storm clouds gather while I muse over the weather, and miss the message while I read between the lies. Like thunder calling the forces of friendship together, on the dark side of the dream, I dreamed I was alive. These hills seem to swirl beneath the cloudbursts and the satiny drapes. My mind tips against the world of wishes, sounds, and sights. It turns from the power of the hearth that churns white, hot faith. The night deepens. I fly into the fear and know I will escape. Dear Urbana, though I cannot see, your faces flash and lights across my fields of vision. The music of your voices dances through my heart's cradles, out in circles, from one gentle splash. Hour by hour, we draw cards in the swell of evening, trace the moments of a dark street with our fingers interlaced. There was never one sorrow that did not leave me believing, never a dream that was ever replaced. May 23rd. Rained all day, pounding itself flat on the purple skylights. Didn't really notice it was breathtaking blue yesterday with you, though you didn't have the time. But hey, Ginger, she cried in my ear. Be strong, I try to stammer, knowing, well, it's what I needed all along, and what I give myself today. My love, at its fullest, was pity. That's a revelation. Now I'm out of time. If I have to love myself to love you, that's a deal. Tonight, I can only shake my head. I tried to tell her, through my raging heart and patchwork soul, these dark ages, trailing time, illuminates. Wisdom emerges from the decay of memory. Its vividness departs and a kind of imagination takes over. Recreation, synthesis, faith. We call it wisdom, sprouting from ruins and moss. I tried to tell her, but she was wise. Daybreak in a Baltimore suburb. No idea why I'm awake except to lie here and construct the universe. Untangle the two threads of duplicity, and with one weave the strand of my thoughts into tapestry and clothing, the other into a safety net. I'm learning how to tell the truth and how to lie, the two elements of honesty. I'm learning to love you happily and without thought of remorse. A universe, one unto myself, so many, and yet, in its small and subtle way, this encompasses them all. Out the townhouse window, I notice it's brighter and I am more tired. Or am I? Must I decide? Perhaps I have greater desire for sleep, or yes, to be in your arms. I have seen so many more sunsets. I have slept through so many dawns, so many awakenings, turned over and returned to dreams forgotten. Art recalls the memory of his true existence to whoever has forgotten that being is the one thing all the universe shouts. Only the return of thought to its source will complete thought. Only the return of activity to its source will complete activity. Listen to that. Daybreak reaches across my seas of gold and green, 1,000 miles or more east of my eyes. In the mirrors of consciousness, light and shadow, color and the streak of fire called dawn, stretch, tease, ideas, fresh and flaming, out of my preconceptions. What is born this day? What its certain promise resounds? I am alive, and the power of my heart is the forebear of eternity. Taken this way, there is so little I cannot say to you, so much that I must. Each molecule of what I am, electrified, knows and feels and ricochets this desire, which is the same as the moving hour of day that burns its searing crest across the ocean, where memory has drowned and knowledge is spawned. Confession to the Sage. His mystical essences touch strings of melody, invisible like smoke, beneath, and I feel between the notes of music. The clothes fall from my body and the air touches my skin, and I see this image flashing in the yellow mirror. The shapes of myself revealed and reversed for once and all in darkness. The sound of my breath fills the silence, and my breath touches sounds. I need do nothing. Warm gusts of emotion carry me in a circle, and I begin to cry out and lean to myself, reaching, flown from the dream, and watch the seconds passing. And the taste of myself fills my mouth, fresh and strange. I fill the circle. I speak of love that comes to mind. The moon is faithful, although blind. She moves in thought she cannot speak. Perfect care has made her bleak. I never dreamed the sea so deep, the earth so dark, so long my sleep. I have become another child. I wake to see the world go wild. black against the sun. I want to watch you burn holes in this world, flash in shadows, fire in the freezing rain. See you stare at sin until it is a lie, scream at the voice of man, voice of death, siren flower, vilified. Knowledge is poison to the world of noise, to the shattered plane, to the glass feet of the insane. Oh, but sing your name in a stream of all your voices. Black against the sun, I say that you are one. You are one. That's to Tia Keenan. Hunting the moon. I step into the snap chill of the April night, and before the motion detectors see me and flood the world with incandescent glare, I notice the moon in the clouds, in the trees, in the east. Nothing could have prepared me for such a sudden breath, not spending the better part of 3 days studying the energetics of planets, not the secret desire to be here, not anything. I look at her, and she looks at me, low and still and large. My mind interjects with a question. What sign is it in? I don't know. I do know there was an eclipse this morning. I know that Saturn conjoining the moon can thwart the emotions, that Saturn square the moon, unless resolved, can signify a lifetime of what some call affliction by karma. She disappears into the clouds, and I am safe. One step, and I am seen by the floodlights, which burst in and erase the sky. Minutes pass as I drive, and I stop at your house. Smeagol is playing Beware of Dog. I say hello, but he ignores me. Now I step away from the porch, closer to the nighttime, and she's back, lighting up the world. Alice Bailey says she is a dead form. Some say she is a lens of consciousness. I say she is silent and listening to the silence. The buzz of a streetlight, some dogs barking, an occasional engine passing on Main Street only make the silence louder. She is listening to me, stand here with nothing to say, struck dumb, moonstruck, my boots solid in my 2 footprints. The earth will turn, and she will seem to traverse the night, and in the dark of morning she will set against the shadow of the Catskills, and I will watch from the ridge as we disappear.